As you can tell, we've got something a little bit new on the chopping block today. Something a little bit different. It's going to be a learning experience. But as many of you know, War at the Wick at Pickwick Dragway has been rescheduled for June the 13th. And it wasn't until I actually saw the poster that Chris Russell posted about the rescheduling that I learned that there are power wheel races. So I guess everything happens for a reason. My first thought process after seeing and learning that there are going to be power wheel races is, wow, what a cool way to get the kids involved. The second thought process was, hey, I've got an old junky power wheel sitting in the barn. I've also got a child small enough to drive it. Let's get busy. So what we've got here is your Amazon special power wheels. It's not the Power Wheel brand. I think that Roleplay is actually the brand. But we're going to hope that, I think the only thing that we're going to have to hope is similar enough to the Power Wheels brand is the gearboxes themselves. So I've actually already done a little testing with this thing. As you can tell, I've got a cobalt battery there. It's a 24-volt battery. I don't think we'll end up using it. I think what we're going to do is we're going to use two Milwaukee 18-volt batteries because this unit actually came equipped to go dual motor from the factory. So I got on Amazon and I found a replacement motor for this unit. It was like $18 shipped, 2-day shipping. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing stripped down. We're going to get rid of the factory graphics, all that good stuff. We're going to tint the headlights, the taillights, make it true to the driver, you know. We're then going to go in and see if we can cut some weight out of it, get rid of the things we don't necessarily need. Well, I am going to look into the gearboxes. I know with the Power Wheel brand, you can actually do a first gear delete that makes your gear a lot taller and a lot less violent on shutdown. So we're going to dig into this gearbox, see if the first gear delete is an option. Hopefully so. So between rubber tires, weight reduction, a lot more juice, twice the motor, and a skilled driver, we should be competitive. So good news, it seems as if the Amazon special motor gearbox here is also eligible for a first gear delete. It gets even better. Take a look at this. So just to give you an idea, the motor comes through the backside here and this gear catches there, right? Well, if you'll come out with that gear, obviously this is going to be a little bit different than the Power Wheels brand setup. But here is where your first gear originally would ride. If you look just to the sides, you see those little provisions? I'm not saying this is what those are here for, but I will say that it matches the mounting holes where your screws go into your motor pretty well. Let's jump into the business of this thing. So this is where your factory first gear came. So on the actual Power Wheels brand, your gear, your pinion that comes off of your motor here actually meshes with that second gear perfectly. On the Roleplay, it actually does not, but I have an idea. So this here is the bottom of your first gear, and that there is what meshes with your second gear. So my thought process is if I can drill this hole out enough to where I can actually get the factory pinion down in there and fasten it with some sort of super glue or something, we can get rid of that first gear ratio, and that way our motor will directly power our second gear, getting rid of the reduction that comes from our first gear. All right, and for those of you with plans of following along, actually to maintain the knowledge you need to do this yourself, this is a 5/16 drill bit. It is really, really close to our factory pinion here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this in the drill, I'm going to get that drilled out, we're going to get creative and come up with some sort of way to securely fasten that inside. Alright, so here's kind of what we've got going on. As you can see, the motor has moved down from where it was from the factory. And as a result of that, if you'll remember originally there was a pinion that would come through here and drive the outer ratio here. In turn, we were getting a gear reduction. So our second gear was only turning at the reduced speed. what's happening now is I heated that pinion up and pressed it into first gear. So now first gear is spinning at full speed of the motor, as opposed to the reduction we would get with the math of our pinion and our first gear here. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get our work table cleaned off. I'm gonna get the vehicle back on the work table, because we know that by moving that factory motor location, we're actually gonna have to come back here. The motor would come through here from the factory. We're actually gonna have to take our Dremel and notch back a clearance for that new location for the motor. Should be very simple. All right, so now we got the car back on the table, got the axle in the rear, and we've got our gearbox back installed. So kind of what we're doing now is kind of seeing how much we need to trim back for that motor to fit. As you can see, it doesn't really align with its factory position, if my light will cooperate. Alright, moment of truth. We got her trimmed out here. I'm gonna go in and see about our fitment. We gotta fish our wires through. Goodness gracious, what a fit. That's probably the most quality part about this entire build so far. Alright, as you can see, I've got the gearbox back in, got the motor all meshed up, got the wheel back on. So now what I'm going to do is actually temporarily rig up a battery so we can see any difference in wheel speed if there is any. Now it may be hard to tell because I left the hubcap at my house in my living room, but the wheel's on and we've got power. Let's see if it spins any faster. That gear mash sounds terrible. Alright, that's pretty much going to do it for this video. There's going to be a few more videos coming along the way. We're going to do some aesthetic customizations, make it fit specifically to our driver. And I'm actually, whenever the new gearbox comes in for the other wheel, I'm actually going to do a video specifically on that, diving in depth, taking my time explaining exactly how I did that. I know in this video it was pretty vague and I apologize, but whenever our motor for the other side comes in, I am going to do an in-depth video. So if you're someone who's watching this, which I'm sure no one's going to watch this, but if you are and you want to do this yourself, by the time you watch that video, you'll know exactly how to do it.